The third set of lightning talks, we're moving into, as someone said in the chat, moving from STEM to STEAM. And our first speaker is Eric Karstens from Bauseat. And take it away, Eric.
So thank you so much, Bob. Let me get this started. Right. So my name is Eric Karstens, and I am the program manager at Bauseat Ocean Awareness Programs. We're a Massachusetts-based nonprofit that uses the creative arts to engage young people in ocean advocacy. So it started in 2011 when our founder, Linda Cabot, took her daughters up to Maine to create a documentary on cod, puffin, and lobster conservation. And she found that her daughters were much more engaged with the topic than they would have been if they were just reading it from a book. So she established the Ocean Awareness Essay Contest, trying to harness that kind of the power of the creative process, which quickly grew to include art. And now in our 11th program year, includes visual art, creative writing, poetry, spoken word, music, dance, film, and interactive and multimedia submissions. So our 2022 Ocean Awareness Contest is themed The Funny Thing About Climate Change. We've noticed a lot of students express a lot of climate anxiety and doom and gloom around when they think about climate change. So we wanted to help flip that narrative and encourage them to think about fresh perspectives for how to engage with ocean conservation. So our contest is free to enter for middle and high schoolers ages 11 to 18. We offer cash awards up to $1,500, and the deadline for submissions is June 13th, 2022. We have some additional awards. So any student in the US who participates in the Ocean Awareness Contest and self-identifies as Black, Indigenous, and/or Latine will automatically be considered for the We All Rise Prize. And any student who submits a spoken word piece will automatically be considered for the Voice of the Sea Award, which is, we are partnering with the amazing Taylor Johnson, who is she is a spoken word poet and an advocate, and she's just incredible. We also have special awards for Massachusetts students. So any student in Massachusetts who participates will be considered for the Bay State Award. Students in Boston who demonstrate financial need can opt into the Hometown Award. And we have Educator Innovation Awards for educators, formal or informal, who bring the Ocean Awareness Contest to their students. Those are $750 grant awards, and any educators in Massachusetts who apply will automatically be considered for the Bay State Educator Award, which is an additional $500 stipend on top of that. The contest, you can enter it as a class. You can have all of your students participate individually, or students can participate on their own. So I know I'm out of time, but my email is up on the screen here, and I look forward to chatting with people in the breakout rooms.
That's awesome, Eric. Thank you very much. Is there a quick question from anyone while we're getting Sarah and Lois lined up? I was just wondering how many students enter per year?
This past year, we had almost 6,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a worldwide competition. So we get students from all over the world, which is really, really awesome.
And you judge them all?
I judge some of them. Bob helps judge some of them. We have a huge, amazing team of judges.
That's awesome. Thank you, Eric. Lois Hetland and Sarah Howdy, Cool Science.
Hello, I'm going to start sharing. How's that?
Quick.
Good.
Quick. Hi, my name is Sarah Howdy. I'm at UMass Boston in Bob Chen's lab. I'm part of this cool project called Cool Science, which is an interdisciplinary project that asks students to create posters about extreme weather for a contest. And they document their thinking in this thing that we call accordion books. So we're going to focus on that today. And with extreme weather, it being so complex, you need a creative approach, right, to address it, to address its complexity. So art partners really well with that because of a few different reasons, right? So you can explore and encourage exploration. There's levels of accessibility to it in terms of materials and things like that. And also science and art kind of reflect each other in their approach. And so there's kind of two questions framing Cool Science's approach to analyzing these, right? So how can we analyze the learning when there's two different and multiple different approaches to visualizing a scientific concept? So it could be artful or it could be scientific. And how do we look at that and look at the differences? And how do we know that it's adding benefit? Is it a waste of time? So that's why we added the accordion books. And Lois is gonna jump into how we explored there.
So our research question for the accordion books is we want to know how visual imagery, meaning the marks or symbols that explore or express meaning, reveal development, growth or change of scientific, scientific, we got that one, conceptual, abstract mental ideas, thinking, using one's mind to consider or reason about something, and understanding, the disposition to use what you know flexibly in novel circumstances. So we're trying to figure out which of these books show better and worse examples of that. So then we can ask all sorts of other questions. Go ahead to the next slide. So we have 5 different indicators that we've figured out over the course of 2 or 3 years. Commitment is the first one, and it's the simplest one. It's just number of pages as a proxy. That one's 1 page, and the other one was 12, so 12 is more. This one is richness, and this is totally science. And like that page with all the writing on it, that would have a very high richness score because there's lots of scientific concepts. But so would the one on the right, because many of the concepts are expressed symbolically in images.
About
The
30
next
seconds.
one. Compositional thinking is the arrangement of how, look at the one on the right, you can see this is all a cloud in a student's mind who's sitting in a classroom. So that's a very interesting arrangement. Go ahead. The next one is symbolic thinking. Again, look at this is a very interesting way to symbolize the production of hail, a raindrop plus a symbol for an updraft plus a freezing level, a frozen thermometer equals hail. And then the last indicator is flexibility and novelty. And we're looking for surprising, unexpected, transgressive ways, like this kid's poking holes in the paper to show pores. This one made a hidden flap of this fan and the wind. And this one is just drawing some interesting air coming out on a cold weather. And it's been a long time. We're making lots of progress. We're getting good inter-rater reliability, fabulous conversations. It's been a really interesting project.
Thank you so much, Lois. As we transfer over to Joe Rosenbaum from BOSTEM, I just want to say that Lois Hetland is a professor emeriti at Mass College of Art and Design. Joe.
Hey, everybody, can you hear me?
Yep.
Cool. Hi, everyone. My name's Joe. I'm also joined here by a couple of our AmeriCorps members, Hannah and Will, who helped me out, and I'm over at the United Way with them, and we run an initiative called BOSTEM, which is focused on inspiring the next generation of STEAM professionals. Our overall mission is to unite with communities to provide career-inspiring STEAM opportunities to all underrepresented K-12 minority students throughout our region. Right now, that's really the greater Boston area, but obviously we hope to spread that out even more. We work very closely with Boston Public Schools and an organization called Boston After School and Beyond on this. We primarily work with out-of-school time programs. I know someone mentioned Courageous Sailing. I'm sure a lot of you on here are running after-school and summer programs. So we go really deep with about 12, and they're all listed right here. So if people know of them or want to get connected, you just let me know. We kind of do 3 things. One is data-informed improvement. So we work with those, that group of out-of-school time programs and take them through a continuous quality improvement process, collect data on the student experience, the quality of the programming, and then provide them with action planning, professional development training based on what we see on the data. Next is career exposure. We, prior to the pandemic, did a lot of workplace field trips and brought STEM professionals into classrooms or out-of-school time programs. Right now, it's mostly all synchronous and virtual. And community engagement. We help the district plan STEM Week every year, and we have a bunch of other events coming up this year, which we'll talk more about in our smaller session. Here's some just quick stats. Since 2017, we've served over 10,000 students. We've increased the number of partners we work with doing STEM programming by 250%. We see, small but steady increases in STEM career interest every year. And we've recorded over 200 STEM videos with professionals. So join us in the session. We'll talk about more how you can get involved, and we'd love to partner with all of you.
That's awesome, Joe. Thank you very much. Any questions for Joe as we transfer over to Sylvia? Sylvia Scharf, you're up.
All right. Just make sure I'm choosing the correct screen. And there we go. All right. Are you seeing my screen?
Yep.
Awesome. So my name is Sylvia Scharf, pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I am talking to you from the Environmental Solutions Initiative at MIT, where I work directly with the TIL Climate podcast. So we're a once a month-ish short little podcast episodes. They're like 12 to 14 minutes long on a specific topic. And then I was brought on board to develop these educator guides. So each one connects with one episode, and the idea is students would listen to the episode either as homework or in class, and then do some or all of the activities. It's definitely not a curriculum. It's adaptable, it's flexible, it's choose your own adventure buffet style. They're all really data-driven and solutions-oriented and interactive. They're not, the idea isn't that I'm giving you a lecture to provide. So I figured I'd just sort of focus on one, and then we can talk more about the others in the breakout session. But sea level rise, obviously very applicable to talking about Boston Harbor. And this educator guide uses sort of a jigsaw idea. So there are 4 teams of students. Each team does an interactive data visualization on either land ice melt, thermal expansion, storm surge, or high tide flooding. And then they bring what they've learned back together. And then that slides into a solutions discussion that includes both adaptation and mitigation, though mostly adaptation. So it's really, it's sort of an example of sort of what the educator guides tend to do in general. There's a lot of that jigsaw, that interactive stuff, or each one teach one, go forth, find stuff out, bring it back. And that's sort of been my goal. And I will also put in a little plug. If you either have used any of our educator guides or are planning to, I'd love to hear from you, because I'm seeking case studies of how they've been used in classrooms. But in our breakout group, what I'd really love to talk with people about is how we're supporting classroom teachers in climate education, both in terms of materials, but also that ongoing support of just understanding where the climate science is, especially for teachers who may or may not have gotten a lot of it during their training as teachers and are trying to keep themselves up to date while also dealing with everything else that they're dealing with as classroom teachers. So I'm interested in that intersection of how we support classroom teachers. And so at that point, I'd love to see you in the breakout session, or just shoot me an email.
Awesome. Thank you, Sylvia. Any questions for Sylvia as we translate to Meg? I was just wondering about visualizations. Are those videos, images?
No, mostly they're
animation?
data interaction websites of various sorts. So nothing that I've created. All of it is, I sort of saw my role very much as like going out and finding what's already out there and helping teachers understand how to use it.
Awesome. Thank you. Meg Tabasco from MWA.
Right. I'm not sharing my screen.
Oh, good.
I'm going to do like I do when I go into the classroom, which is where I spend most of my time. So I work for the MWRA, the Massachusetts Water Resources Authority. I've been doing virtual presentations, but I'm getting the word that I'll be back in the classroom very, very soon. And the MWRA, for people who don't know, we're an independent state agency. We provide water and sewer services to the greater Boston area. There are 61 cities and towns that depend on us for that service. And in the Boston area, you get your drinking water from the Quabbin Reservoir and the Wachusett reservoirs, but then you use that water for a whole lot more than drinking. You send that water to the Deer Island treatment plant. And Pat mentioned that out at Deer Island, we will collaborate with different organizations. We can host some, if you want to do a teacher training, we do teacher trainings out there. We have water quality testing equipment that we can come out and do tests. Somebody mentioned Courageous Sailing Center. I go there every year and work with the sailors, and they test the water, and they learn that Boston Harbor used to be the most polluted water in the nation because of the sludge that used to go into the harbor, but we recycle it into fertilizer. And in addition to the classroom presentations and working with other organizations and things like that, we do tours of Deer Island, and we hold a poster and writing contest each year. And it fits right in what a clean Boston Harbor means to me. There's still time to enter. If you have kids, if you have a classroom, things like that, in the breakout session, I can give you all the information about that as well. So that's in a nutshell. And in the breakout session, I will share one of the demonstrations that I do with K through the college level about what not to flush. I'm often called the toilet lady because I very rarely go into a school or a classroom without my flushing toilet.
Meg, that was awesome. Thank you for reminding us to practice what we preach. That was great. Questions for Meg as we go to our last speaker? Reminds me that there's a number of these contests that have all different timelines that we should be sharing with across the entire network. Rachel, great to see you. Rachel Vincent, you're up.
Hello. All right. Bob, can I get a thumbs up for my screen? Great. All right. So my name is Rachel Vincent. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a biological science technician at the Boston Harbor Islands National and State Park. And I'm just going to give a super quick overview about the City Nature Challenge and what that looks like for 2022, so that hopefully you can get involved in your own area. So the A City Nature Challenge is a 4-day BioBlitz, and a BioBlitz is just a brief, intensive survey of biodiversity over a set area and time. A bit of a background of CNC, it started in April of 2016 as a friendly competition between San Francisco and LA to really understand the biodiversity in their urban environments. And it has grown to hundreds of cities and dozens of countries worldwide. So the purpose of the CNC is really to connect people to their local nature and making people understand that nature isn't just a way. It's to collect urban biodiversity data, grow volunteer biodiversity observers, have fun through collaboration of collecting this information, and connecting people to each other as well as to the nature around them. So all of this is through the iNaturalist web platform and mobile application. And you can really see that the City Nature Challenge has not only been the highest number of iNaturalist observations year over year, but also has increased the baseline of people who use iNaturalist throughout the year. And like I was saying, it's a really great platform to use for collecting biodiversity information, not just during the CNC, but really as the targeted BioBlitz during then. So how does it work? So the City Nature Challenge is really two parts. First, from April 29th to May 2nd is the observation period. So people actually going out to their environments, to wherever outside, and taking pictures and observations of those wild plants, animals, living critters. And then the second part is really important, which is identifying what was found. So a really key part about iNaturalist is it's a social media platform, really using it to identify species that I might not know, but I'm still going to post, and somebody from across the world might be able to go in and identify and say what that species is. and identifying things gets them to research grade, which is really important in solidifying that data as actual scientific information that scientists are contributing to. So the Boston area is a loose term for this. We have expanded to really be within the 495 belt, including the Cape and the Islands. So if you are in any of this area of Eastern Mass, including going out to Selwyn Bank, then you are within that Boston area. And just really quick, some of the goals that we have is really to just engage communities, new people, new observers, both focusing in your own backyard, understanding that nature is everywhere, but also trying to find those new habitats and environments, increasing geographic and participant diversity. We really want to increase our observations and get most of those observations to research grade. And I know I'm out of time, so I can go into more detail in the breakout session.